I think it was 91, 92, that summer in Melbourne, and Dean Warne was over to watch the Boxing Day Test match, watch his brothers playing, or watch Mark playing, and Dean Warne, we went to the MCG and we sort of had a couple of beers before we got there, and we got to the ground and we'd had a few more beers, and we went to get some food as well, getting a bit hungry, and though it was at lunchtime, we had some pies under our elbows and we had some stubbies under, I think you could only get light beer, it might have been a bit heavy, I can't remember. And we had them all under beer, and I was walking down and I bumped into Ian McDonald, the team manager of the Australian cricket team, Bob Simpson, the coach. And I was straight around and I went, "G'day guys, how are you?" And they said, "Oh, yeah, look like you're having a good day." I said, "Yeah, it's going pretty well so far." I said, "You know you're a chance to play the next test match?" I said, no, because Peter Taylor was the spinner. And I didn't really realise that I was a chance to play. I'd only played a few games for Victoria and a couple of games as well. I think I'd only played 4 or 5 first-class matches, I'm not exactly sure. And next minute we went back down and sat in the members' bar, and Dean Warne sort of started shouting out to the whole crowd there, "This bloke's going to play the next test, this is Shane Warne down here." I was like, "Shut up, will you?" So we're sitting there eating our pies and all that sort of stuff, and then the next day, Ian McDonald rang and said, "Look, you've just been selected in the next test in Sydney." Oh, wow, you beauty. So I said, "Oh, that's great, Macca."
It was congratulations all round in the Warne family this morning as a proud mum and dad celebrated the inclusion of their 22-year-old son in the Australian side. It's a remarkable rise to fame after just 7 first-class matches, and Warne didn't try to conceal his feelings.
I just feel very proud, and it's just a privilege to play. But, you know, I didn't never really expected to play. You know, it's just something you dream of.
Test cricket hasn't seen an abundance of leg spinners over the past decade, but Warne's confidence should be boosted by the fact that the SCG has been a happy hunting ground for spinners in the last few years.
I might feel just a touch of apprehension, but in the main I feel a touch of delight that we have a leg spinner back in the side.
A fortnight ago, Warne was carrying the drinks for Victoria and struggling to hold his spot in the Shield team. Today he was savouring the biggest break of his short career.
It's beautiful, mate.
And whatever the outcome of his test debut, the baggy green cap and his Aussie jumper will be cherished forever in the Warne wardrobe.
How many wickets on the first innings?
Oh, mate, I wouldn't have a clue. I don't know. Just hope I sort of hit the mark on the wicket somewhere.
You know, I got picked at my first test match in Sydney, get up there, and I hadn't met Bruce Reid, I hadn't met Jeff Marsh, I hadn't met a few of the guys. I'd, you know, maybe met a couple of the other guys once. I didn't know where to sit in the dressing room, and there was still a bit of the old school there, you know, like, you know, you sit down and you be quiet until you're spoken to. But the guys were just fantastic. They made me feel welcome. And I'm sitting there with my bag, waiting until everyone else is sitting down and not knowing where to sit, and then I end up sitting where Steve Warne sat because he was out of the side. He'd been dropped, and the boy said, "Oh, you're pretty quick to get into Steve Warne's spot, aren't you?" Like, just taking the mickey, and I did, "Oh, should I sit somewhere else," sort of thing.
My first memory of Warne was this long blonde hair and pretty chubby little fella from Victoria who was pretty confident, and first time I saw him bowl was in Zimbabwe, and I just couldn't believe how good he was, you know. It was like watching a young genius, you know. You could hear the ball fizzing through the air and it was just turning square, and I thought, where's this bloke come from, you know? Like, I hadn't heard of him before that tour, and, you know, he was pretty down to earth and just your average bloke who liked a meat pie and a bit of a beer and a chat, and, you know, he was just your average sort of bloke.
Yeah, just before we got the field over, he said, "Come on, boys, let's go out and get him now, and, you know, Warnie, good luck in your first test. Don't do a Johnny Watkins on us." Hopefully I'll hit the pitch. So I went out, and Bruce Reid broke down in the first couple of overs. So bowling attack, I think, was Merv Hughes, Craig McDermott and myself. We didn't, and Alan Border was going to bowl a bit, but we didn't have too much other bowling. Mark Waugh bowled some seam, and Stephen wasn't playing, so we didn't have too much other bowling, so I was on pretty early.
That's a great shot. And Draco driving beautifully, nothing wrong with the delivery.
Just that first ball, I honestly don't know how I got through the first couple of balls. My hands were just that sweaty, and I'm trying to grip, and obviously as a leg spinner you need to have a good grip of the ball, but when you've got a wet hand trying to grip the ball, it was, it really was a very daunting feeling. And
he's got that off the meat of the bat. That's a good shot. 150 for Ravi Shastri. maybe Shastri prefers to hit the leg spinner over the offside.
Ravi Shastri and Tendulkar just went on a rampage. They just whacked me all over the park, and I thought, what's this all about? I just don't belong here. I'm not good enough to play. And I just didn't think I was good enough. And I was just happy to get one wicket. When Dean Jones caught that catch, I was very, very relieved. Even though I got pogoed all over the park, at least I had one wicket and I'd played one test match.
It's in the air, Jones under it, that's the end of the innings. Shane Warne gets his first test wicket after prolonged trial and effort, and a superb double century by Ravi Shastri.